Imagine an agreement so massive, so unprecedented, it redefines the very fabric of global trade. That's exactly what happened when Ibrahim Traoré, the young, bold leader of Burkina Faso, just inked a record-shattering $60 billion cotton deal with India. Not $6 billion, $60 billion. 1. Why this deal feels like a plot twist in international trade. This is not everyday diplomacy. A $60 billion agreement in the cotton sector, it's huge. It instantly jumps from local or regional trade into the realm of seismic global impact. Why cotton of all things? Cotton is often the fabric of our lives in the most literal sense. Your t-shirt, your sheets, the clothes on your back might someday trace back to this deal. The players. On one side, Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso's rising leader. On the other, India, global trade powerhouse and one of the largest textile markets on earth. 2. Ibrahim Traoré, the bold leader behind the headlines. On one side of this headline-grabbing claim is Captain Ibrahim Traoré, now president of Burkina Faso. Traoré's leadership has been marked by dramatic reforms, nationalizing gold, bolstering artisanal sectors, and rejecting Western financial aid. This posture, steering away from dependency and embracing autonomy, surely fuels narratives of high-stakes deals like the Cotton Pact. Traoré isn't your typical head of state. He rose to power in a coup in late 2022, positioning himself as a disruptor intent on shaking up politics and Pan-African economics alike. Young, ambitious, calculated, he represents a new wave of leadership in Africa, one that's less about tradition, more about transformation through trade and bold foreign policy. 3. $60 billion? That's a game changer. To put it in perspective, official bilateral trade between India and Burkina Faso hovered around $600 to $620 million as recently as 2021 to 2022. So this Cotton Pact isn't incremental growth, it's a quantum leap. Imagine multiplying a modest neighborhood market by 100. It's that kind of jump. For Burkina Faso, this could transform cotton from a traditional crop into the centerpiece of national strategy, empowering farmers, infrastructure, export capacity. 4. What would this mean on the ground? Farmers and communities. Cotton growers across Burkina Faso could see increased incomes, better access to markets, and long-term stability. Supply chains. A massive ramp-up in farming means needing better roads, warehouses, export hubs. This kind of investment trickles down. India's textile engine, a reliable, massive supply pipeline, could strengthen India's domestic sector, reducing dependency on volatile global markets. 5. The historical weight of cotton in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso isn't new to cotton. In fact, it has long been nicknamed white gold in the region. Cotton accounts for over 70% of Burkina Faso's export revenue, making it the country's single most important cash crop. Farmers across rural communities rely on cotton not only for income, but also for survival. Now imagine that decades of struggle in farming, harsh weather, global price fluctuations, exploitation by middlemen, suddenly have a new twist. A massive trade partner in India, willing to inject $60 billion into this sector. It's more than just money, it's validation of the sweat and labor of millions of Burkinabe farmers. In many ways, this isn't just a trade deal, it's history catching up with potential. 6. India's textile hunger. Why this makes sense. Let's flip the lens and look at India. Why would it care so much about cotton from Burkina Faso? India is the world's second largest textile producer, right after China. The textile and apparel industry contributes about 2% of India's GDP and employs over 45 million people. Cotton is the backbone of this industry, yet India's cotton sector faces a constant challenge. Demand outpaces supply. Domestic production isn't always enough, and global markets are volatile. That's why locking in a secure, long-term partnership with a country like Burkina Faso isn't just smart, it's strategic. Think of it like a chef securing a steady source of ingredients to keep the kitchen running no matter how crowded the restaurant gets. 7. Real-world echoes. When bold deals shift the narrative. Think of China's oil deals with African nations or Middle Eastern investment in African infrastructure. They weren't just economic, they carried strategic weight. Or consider Ethiopia's flour exports. What was once a small, greenhouse venture evolved into one of Africa's largest export earners. The idea? What starts small can scale fast if backed by big buyers. This cotton deal could serve the same trajectory, but supercharged. 8. Yet, the big question remains, is it real? As of now, the only sources referencing the deal are YouTube headlines. For instance, Ibrahim Traoré secures record-breaking $60 billion cotton deal with India. No official press release from Indian or Burkina Faso government outlets that we've found. Not yet. So, let's treat this as a potential game-changer that needs confirmation, but even the possibility is enough to spark curiosity and speculation. 9. A conversational walkthrough of what this could look like. Wait, $60 billion? That's like impossible for cotton trade. Well, imagine Burkina Faso, often in global headlines for security or coups, suddenly at the center of a massive economic pivot. But I thought India sources cotton from multiple countries. Why go so big with Burkina Faso? Maybe they see a chance to secure a reliable long-term supply. Maybe they're investing in building upstream partnerships, farmer cooperatives, filtered exports, shared infrastructure. This sounds too good. What's the catch? Exactly. That's what makes it juicy to explore. Is it a strategic move? A pilot that can scale? Is it symbolic? Is there follow-through? 10th. Trends that make deals like this plausible or desirable. Africa-Asia trade surging. India has been steadily expanding ties across Africa: energy, textiles, infrastructure. Made in Africa initiatives. Across the continent, there's growing emphasis on cultivating, processing, and exporting goods from within. Vertical integration. Buyers, like India, skipping intermediaries by investing directly in production, similar to demand-driven supply chains seen in tech or agriculture. 11. Now, let's pivot to the emotional and aspirational side. Imagine the pride. Farmers hear Burkina Faso is world famous for cotton. That changes mindset. Imagine the ripple effect. A school gets built, a road paved, because cotton wealth arrived. A spark of inspiration. Young Africans seeing a deal like this might think, maybe I can turn our local industry into global trade too. 12th. A deeper look at the India-Burkina Faso relationship. While the deal itself appears unverified, the foundation of collaboration between the two nations is real. For years, India has been a committed partner in Burkina Faso's development, initiating agricultural and technical projects, supporting vocational training centers, labs, and infrastructure under ITEC and Team 9 programs, supplying assistance like tractors, seeds, solar kits, and expert training. Trade between the two nations has grown steadily, around $622 million in 2021-22, including exports like gold and cashews from Burkina Faso and pharmaceuticals and cotton fabric from India. This underlines that while a $60 billion deal may be headline hunting, India-Burkina Faso trade relations are long-standing and multifaceted, just not that massive. Inspiration for other African nations. Even if this deal is partly symbolic or aspirational, its ripple effect across Africa is undeniable. Ghana, Nigeria, Mali, Tanzania, other cotton-producing nations will take note. If Burkina Faso can strike billion-dollar partnerships, why not them? It signals that African resources don't need to be exported cheaply anymore. Instead, they can be positioned as premium, high-value commodities with long-term contracts. This could inspire a new wave of resource nationalism, but one driven not by shutting the world out, rather by negotiating better terms with it. So, whether the $60 billion cotton deal is absolutely real or still whisper-level rumors, it's already a story that makes you lean in. It makes you curious. It asks big questions about economic ambition, bold strategy, and the power of partnership. Imagine a partnership that flips perceptions, a new narrative where Africa trades on its terms, and global players come to listen. That, my friends, is the kind of story that doesn't just inform, it inspires. If a $60 billion cotton deal actually unfolded, Africa just wove itself into a new chapter of global trade. Don't just hear it, think about it. Let it spark what could come next. Hit like, share with someone who loves big ideas, and subscribe so you don't miss the next massive pivot shaping our world.